Hello, everybody. Good morning and welcome to Real Estate Talk TGIF. My name is Dave Fanale. You know what the TGIF stands for, right? Thank God it's Fanale. And we want to thank you for coming. We know it's Friday, but we also know that it's Fanale. So you can't do it without me. So I've got to be here. And this is episode 56. 56, that's Lawrence Taylor's number, the best linebacker that ever played football. If you know that, if you don't, you do now. But anyway, I'm really honored to have Joe Villaescusa with us today. Joe is the broker owner of Century 21 Allstars in Pico, Rivera, California. And Joe is here. First of all, he's really kind enough to come on. He's a friend of mine. We've worked together in Century 21. And Joe, you don't remember this, but we first met in October of 1996 when they used to do the IMA, the International Management Academy, out near you. Yep. And you came in when Mike Berry was talking and talked for like 10 minutes one day. And that's where we met. And I'll never forget that trip because that's also the week that the Yankees won the World Series. Oh. And so I always watched that from a bar. I had a ticket to Game 6 and I missed it. But anyway.
Well, let's go down memory lane. Guess where I'm at today?
Where are you at now?
I'm at a Mike Ferry, Tom Ferry event with NARAP. And I'm in the same hotel that IMA used to be in 1996.
How interesting is that?
Isn't it?
Mike Berry event. You're at Mike Ferry and Tom Ferry. Two great coaches. And
first time these guys have been on the stage in 16 years together.
That's going to be a great event. Yeah. And it's 8 a.m. out in California. So thanks for joining us early. And of course, my phone wants to go off as I'm talking. I didn't set it up not to do that. But Joe, your company, your office has been in the top 3-4. Number one in the world in Century 21 for a very, very long time. Yep. And it's extremely impressive. I mean, your physical plant is impressive enough, and you have such great agents. And it seems like you guys there's somebody there 24 hours a day in your company, in your office. Tell me about yourself, how you got started, and what was the one key to success, or some of your keys as you built your company.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks for the introduction. Hey, good morning, everybody. Joe Villaescusa. My company's right outside Los Angeles, California, and started about 33 years ago as a realtor. Sold real estate for 1 year. Did really, really well that first year. And my broker, who was retiring, basically said, "Hey, the next step for you is to run a brand." I was an independent company and went on and interviewed at C21. Obviously, got hired, and it all started from there. So it started with myself and one agent. Brand new agent almost 34 years ago. Been to the C21 system for 33 years. Done quite well over the years, but there's been a lot of hiccups and starts and stops along the way that we had to endure. Bad markets, good markets, changing of the guard of people that are coming in and out of the company and things like that. So, the footprint where we're at today is we're in a 50,000 square foot building. We occupy about 40,000 square feet of it. Right now, we have just under 300 realtors that work in that one location. I just have one facility. I don't have two. We just do one. So our model is most of our agents show up on a daily basis. So we're not one of those less than brick or mortar people. We people show up at the company every single day, starting at 7 o'clock in the morning when training starts, all the way until it's not 24/7, but it's about until 9 and 10 o'clock at night when we finally shut those doors.
Okay, so a couple of quick questions. How many agents are on your roster?
Just under 300.
Just under 300, and most of them show up on a regular basis.
Yeah, Dave. Up front, we probably have about 225 full time, and then we have a lot of transitional or wives or some part time agents. Not a lot of part time agents, but some. The goal is to get to 500.
Okay. Now you also said 7 a.m.
Yes.
So tell me, you have training that starts at 7 a.m. or people start coming in at 7 a.m.?
No, we start the training at 7 a.m. So obviously there's a huge commitment, on my part because I do the morning training. So I show up every single day. So, we have 3 other managers, not including myself, so total of 4 that I do the 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and then we do afternoon training also. So everything from scripts to dialogues to CMAs, CRMs. I mean, whatever we have to do to cover to make us more productive. A lot of it's information about what's going on in the market, how many listings, sales, how many listings have Obviously, in California today, pools right now is a big thing because in California right now it's about 105 degrees and about 1,000% humidity out here today. So it's just a very hot environment that we're working in right now. So, just getting the information out to the troops that, on those open houses that we do every single week. And we have about anywhere from 30 to 70 open houses every weekend. So
Wow.
we're ramping that up right now. So, yeah. So
I want everybody to know that I have been to Joe's office. I've had the opportunity to be there, and it was a great experience. I mean, when you walk in, I think we walked in at like 8:30, and
yeah,
the place was packed,
yeah.
right? I don't know many offices that you can go to where a place is packed at 8:30 in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
and people are there all day, just like they're not just milling around; they're actually working. I mean, you walk around, there's an area where they all do calls together.
Yep.
And you hear them doing the calls, and it's music. It's
Yeah.
actual
Yeah.
music, right? So let's get into some of the nitty gritty of a real estate agent life. So we have a kind of like a production call during the week, and we figure out what we're going to talk about. And one of the things you said you wanted to talk about was many agents make it and many agents fail.
Yeah.
What's the difference between making it and failing?
I think it's really the expectations of the individuals getting into real estate because, some get into real estate because maybe they don't run a real job or they got into real estate and their role model was maybe the mom or dad or a family friend. And, the first thing they do is they go to a certain office. Maybe it's right down the street from their house or maybe it's that family friend and they may be in the wrong location. So I think a lot of it has to do with the environment that you're in. So it has to be the right environment. You have to challenge yourself saying, hey, is this really what I expect out of it? And the second thing is, like I said, like Tom and Mike said, very clearly yesterday, is that you have to show up. And showing up means this: if you want to make 100,000, 500,000, whatever it means, you got to show up every single day, especially in the very beginning. So in the very beginning, I'm real honest with people, Dave. I said, hey, listen, this is a 40 to an 80-hour, week gig. I mean, there's times that you're not going to have a day off. When I started off, I didn't have a day off my entire first year. I was working at 7 a.m. and getting off at 10 p.m. And that was a normal week because in the very beginning you're just learning a lot of new stuff. You're learning about the market. Real estate's a tough gig. It's not easy, but you got to apply yourself to this stuff if you really want to make those award-winning numbers and change your environment and change who you are as a leader within your community or family. So, but it's not hard once you get going. So it's not like that all the time, though. I'll be honest with you. I have agents that they come in at 9 o'clock, they leave at 2 o'clock, and hey, Dave, they're Centurion agents. For those listeners that don't know what that is, that's in the C20 Winston. That's just shy of $300,000 a year, but they put in their time in the very beginning. So you're not going to work 80 hours a week for your entire life. So that's just in the beginning.
So one of the other things we've talked about is the difference between a real job and being a real estate agent. And the way I look at this, and correct me if I'm wrong, and this is what I try to get into people, is the structure is the most important part when they get started. Because when you have a real job, and I'm going to put that in quotes, you go to work, you have to be there at a certain time, you have to do a certain amount of work, and you leave at a certain time.
Yeah.
If you're an entrepreneur or own the company, well, you're going to get there a little earlier, you're going to stay a little later. Isn't that what a real estate agent is?
It is, but what happens here is we get into this independence thing, where we're independent contractors, and once we start, putting that hat on, that's where I think the mistakes really happen. See, when you go to this event that I'm at today, and you see these wonderful agents from mainly California today, making anywhere from $1 million up to $5 million a day, $5 million in real estate. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
And they come to this because once they network with each other, and the second thing, they're in coaching. They're not independent. They're, Mike tells them, Tom tells them, their network of friends. I mean, hey, this is what we have to do every single day. Even though you're independent, we still need that guidance, I think, all throughout our career. I mean, I've had 3 coaches most of my life. I've been with Mike the entire time that I've been in real estate and coaching. And I still come back. So people say, hey, are you a slow learner or you just like the abuse? And quite frankly, I like the leadership that Mike gives out there that keeps me, my feet to the ground and agents' feet to the ground of what's going on every single day. So, this independent thing that, even though we're independent, we got to really take it with a grain of salt because with me, I just need a great coach behind me to make sure that I'm doing what I'm doing every single day. Yeah, or David can get very, very lonely out there.
Absolutely. I mean, I want everybody to hear that again, is that Joe Villaescusa, broker owner of a company that will, how much business will you do this year, Joe?
Hopefully we'll get to the billion range this year, but anywhere from, we're going to do about 2,500 transactions.
And Joe has agents making $300,000, $1 million a year in their pockets. That's commission, right?
Yeah.
Joe's talking about having coaches himself.
Yeah.
Now, what's really interesting is that, if most people don't know, I sold my business 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago. I had coaches then, and our mutual coach, John Cheplack, we work with, and I still have several now. And I was talking to a gentleman yesterday who was not in production, who was a trainer, and we were talking about different things about coaching. He says, Dave, I've got 5 coaches now, right? And they're all for different things, but he makes sure that they're, that he's consistent with what he's doing. Yeah. So getting that help and having that, person behind you supporting you is so important. We talked about picking the right office, and I know that your office gives the amount of support. Talk a little bit about support from coaching and support from your company.
Yeah, well, obviously, I'm one of the coaches there, obviously, and then we have 3 other ones, and they're all different. We have Richard Strada, who used to be a coach with Mike Ferry, so he comes with a vast amount of information and different angles. So every agent isn't going to, like coaching, you're not going to be the best coach for everybody. So we have 4 of us there that bring in a different set of skills that we do things with. It's just like when you talk about John Cheplack. I mean, just the amount, just John's a great person, first of all. And the work he does every single day with people from around the country in North America, Canada, is phenomenal. I mean, I remember when I was young and growing, I was flying around the country, and I was on a plane every 2 weeks to go to your office or different offices of people that I'd meet just to find out, hey, what does this thing feel like? What's it sound like? What's it smell like? What does it look like? Because if you don't get out of your environment and you don't meet other people, it's going to get really monotony. And you want to make sure that, hey, if you're going to really go for that high levels, and we all should try to do that, you're going to have to get outside your comfort zone, and it's going to be tough. And a great coach is someone who's going to tell you like it is. Like Mike and I, we'll be on the phone with each other, and we'll hang up on each other. Sometimes we don't get along, but that's not why I'm hiring Mike or John or the people that I've hired in the past. They're to tell me the things that I'm not good at. Same thing for an agent. A lot of times I find brokers or managers, sometimes when we start to make some ground with that agent, when it gets a little tough out there and we're having a tough conversation, sometimes you hear things, well, it's getting tough for me. I don't want to hear that from you. I'm going to go down the street because someone's, sending me love notes and wants to recruit me and things like that. And at that moment, that's when you really want to say to yourself, hey, that may be not the time to go. See, sometimes it's like our parents, in our teens and 20s, our parents say things, and we become later in life, we become adults, and we say, hey, that's what that meant all along. So, you want to make sure that the coach is the right coach, and they're not just a friend of yours, not taking you to lunch and dinner and telling you what you want to hear just to keep you there. I've had some tough ones, Dave, so I'm appreciative of that. I'm appreciative of the C21 system and the leadership that they've had with me for 33 years. I think it's the best training that you can possibly get if you reach out and do something with it.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things you're talking about is we talked about it earlier, is talking about, where you're going, who you're going to be working with. It's a really tough job for an agent, because if they're frustrated or they're feeling unloved at the company that they're at, how can they, I mean, I don't even know if there's a correct answer to this, but how do they know they're going to the right place? Number one. Number two, and just along with that, is when they start in the business, what are the things they need to look for? I mean, okay, so moving from one company to another is one thing, right? I know what you have, and maybe you just talked about what you have. If you talk to that, that's going to be the answer.
Yeah. It's difficult because for everybody is not going to be, even though I'd love to have everybody at my office, we're all not going to work out together because we see life differently, or we approach the model differently, and we have a real set model within our company. So we don't really have teams. We have maybe 1 or 2 individual that have maybe 1 person. So we haven't adopted the team environment that a lot of companies embraced over the last 10 years. So we're a real one-on-one, very basic fundamental company. But getting back to that office, kind of it's like a relationship. Just because you're having a tough time in your relationship doesn't mean you go to the courthouse to file papers that, hey, I want to go somewhere else now. So in this market, in real estate, in some markets, it's very prevalent that agents are bouncing around, and they're just really hurting themselves because they're going where the wind's blowing them the best. And a lot of times you just have to sit back and tell the broker, the manager, saying, this is the relationship for both of us. We're both growing. We're both doing things together in the market. So, I frown on agents when it gets tough out there that they bounce around as much as they do. So, we've had pretty good retention throughout the years at our company with our main folks, but we still have that issue when, we obviously get people calling our agents on a daily basis. And we know it, and it's part of the industry. But we just have to look into ourselves, because before we really start to make some headway in our career, that's sometimes when we take the path of least resistance.
So basically, one of the things you're saying that you're not saying is that the agent really needs to look at themselves, look inside themselves first, as to see exactly what they want, what they're really looking for, and that's really tough.
Yeah, it is, and this is really for brokers, but agents can listen to this. Is that in my years that I find the tougher that I am on somebody like you, Dave, I'm tough with you as an agent, and there's expectations that both you and I set. As long as we understand that relationship, I find the tougher the agent is, and I am on that agent, they're never going to leave. Isn't that amazing? They're never going to leave. It's when they're left alone for a long period of time, and they're just not feeling it. So with the agent count that we have, that's why we have 4 managers.
Right.
We have to be able to service all of them, but it's a two-way road. I mean, they have to give, we have to give, and we have to make sure that we compete at a high level. So they're competing, but they're not competing to make a living. A lot of the agents, but they're competing more is that recognition to be some of the best in the market that they're in.
So one of the things I've been asking a lot of agents lately is, what's your biggest pain? What is the biggest problem that you have in your business? What is the thing that keeps you up at night? What's your biggest pain? What would you say that was, if you give a few of them, or what most agents say their problem is?
I think a lot of it, David, there's a lot of distractions in our business. And when you hear about Relishes and Amazon, and hear about Purple Bricks and Redfin and all these things that are going on out there, and, we're constantly looking for this stuff. And if we would just focus on what we're doing every single day, and, have one teacher of fact that you want to go to, or 2 teachers of fact that you want to go to, and not chase every seminar and every real estate event that's out there, because I see there's a lot of information, but there's not a lot of applying of the stuff that we know. So we can't get caught up doing these events, because there's events literally in our market every single day.
Right.
And so there's a lot of distractions, and those distractions would happen and get you away from the core fact that, hey, we need to learn and have the skill level, the confidence to go out there and prospect at a super high level. So take this. If you did 10 contacts a day, Dave, 10 contacts, and you work 6 days a week, that's 60 contacts. 60 contacts times 4 weeks is 240. If you did that 12 months, it's 2,880 contacts. If you were 1% successful, you would be a Centurion agent at C21. You'd be making $280,000 in our market, just having 10 contacts a day. It's that simple. So do the math, and all these people are out there saying, hey, buy this, sell this, or come join this. But hey, if you just made 10 contacts a day, like they say, that keeps the doctor away, the bill collectors away. So it's as simple as that.
So you're talking about all the distraction. I like to call that noise.
Yes.
Right. And there's so much noise. And one of the things that I work on with agents in my programs is all about structure. Yeah. So structure has to do with time blocking, tools, systems, etc. Yep. And if you really focus, if you can get that self-discipline, which is tough, right?
Yeah.
You're going to be blocking out the noise. So segueing into that from there, going into what an agent must do to start their business. What do you think is the most important thing? What do you believe, and what do you work on with your agents about what's most important about starting a real estate business?
Yeah, we'll start with the end in mind. That's how I was taught, meaning that, hey, what is it that you want to accomplish? So, as an agent, let's say it's a Centurion level business, $280,000 within the C21 system. I want that recognition, my name in the paper. I want to be able to provide for my family. So $280,000. So what we have to do is we have to define what that is, because when you're brand new, $280,000, it may as well be $10 million, because it's a large amount of money. And then what you do is you break it down. So 288 all the way down to the common number. So what time do you have to come into the office? So your day starts the night before. So the night before, you have to get back into bed at a reasonable hour, maybe 9 o'clock, because, hey, you're building this business. You can't go to bed at 11, 12, be on YouTube videos and doing all this stuff and waking up late, coming in at different hours. So, if you're going to show up at 8 o'clock in the morning, it has to be 8 o'clock every single day. If it's 7 o'clock, it has to be 7 o'clock every single day, because this is where the habits all start. Okay,
Right.
so our habit is, hey, $288,000. So, like I said earlier, it's those 10 contacts a day, that face-to-face contact that we're talking about real estate. So it could be here in this hotel. There's a lot of people here, and I'm sure they're visitors, and they want to know about real estate. In our market, our geographic markets, have we met the people out there? See, it's okay, Dave, that somebody lists their house with somebody else. It's okay. Did you hear that?
Yep.
It's okay they
Yep.
list their house with somebody else, as long as you had an opportunity to speak with them. Now, if they listed the home with somebody else, but you've never spoken to them, you never competed. You were never up to bat. You were never that person. So we got to make sure that we're competitive at the highest level, that we need to meet people every single day, because regardless of all the noise out there, we still need to meet people every single day. So we got to get in the habit of, hey, listen, get past that confidence and that unconfident inability that we may have, and just pick up the phone, knock on that door, hit that 4-step that expired listing, that just sold every single day. Because listen, gang, you're 10 contacts away from being great. And once you become that $280,000 Centurion agent, trust me, you're going to want more, because your confidence level is up there, and you're going to, for the first time maybe in your life, you have this financial stability and financial success that the industry provides to us. We just have to do our share of the work.
Okay, so we've decided who we're going to be. We decided with the end in mind. That's great. Start with the end in mind. That all goes along with goal setting and commitment to what you really want.
Yeah.
How important, people talk about this, and this is part of the noise that we hear, is build the brand. You're the brand. Build the brand. It's not your company. It's this, that, and the other thing. How does that work in to kind of starting with the right goal, the right commitment with the end in mind?
With us, I wouldn't change the colors of the brand. I wouldn't try to compete with the brand. I wouldn't start my own brand, because obviously when we know about brands, it takes millions and millions and millions of dollars to build a brand. I think it's overrated. I think what you have to do is be fundamental, and your brand is you in the market. Hey, my brand may be 1,000 people. I'm okay with 1,000 people meeting me. On Facebook, I don't need 5,000 friends. I just meet this many friends that are going to do business with me every single day. So sometimes that may be the marketers out there trying to sell us stuff about building this brand, doing all these fabulous things. But listen, we just got to go out there and do our job. It's fundamental about what you and I have to do every single day. So, the model hasn't really changed a lot in the 37 years that I've been in business. What my agents are doing today are the things that I did 34 years ago when I got into this real estate business. It was belly to belly. It was a flyer in my hand and meeting people every single day. See, I think sometimes, Dave, that we want to buy into something. We want to buy that program, buy this advertising, buy something, because we want to buy our way into the market, because really we haven't reconciled the facts that we're very insecure about doing the prospecting that we have to do. So, what I know about this, once we get on that listing appointment, we're going to want to do it all the time. Okay, so, hopefully that answers that question, because we're very fundamental in what we do every single day.
No, it does answer the question, and it's fundamentals are the answer, and it's while it's important for people to know who you are, and that could be your brand. I mean, if you stay focused on where you're going to, that's the most important thing. So then we go into things that agents need to use in their business: tools, systems, processes. What do you think is required of an agent for their business?
The first thing are the fundamentals. Showing up on time. That's probably the biggest obstacle I see in most agents. They're not fundamental in what they do with their time. Meaning this: if I hired you, Dave, at $290,000, $300,000 a year, do you think you would have a set time you would have to show up every single day? The answer would be yes. I mean, you're not going to be there. So that's the thing with agents. Sometimes we don't have those fundamentals in place, and we think just because we stayed up a little bit later on a listing presentation or put a contract together tomorrow morning, we can kind of let up on the gas. Or hey, Aunt's coming in from Florida, I'm going to be the one that goes picks her up because I really don't have a real job. Okay, so that's the type of stuff you have to say. Hey, this is a real job. This is a real job. When we get to this level, our level of award winning, that we have to understand that people are relying upon us, buyers and sellers, to do the things we do every single day. I mean, to grow your business, we're going to have great customer service, and anybody can list a property, anybody can list one, but to list a property and to manipulate that, and by saying, hey, if I did a great job for you, Dave, there's people that that I don't know, can I rely upon you to recommend one or two people to me? And you put them into your CRM, and you remind them this is how you grow your business and how you give love back to them. And, Dave, if you're a painter, I'm going to put you on my website. I'm going to say, hey, I endorse, Dave. He's a customer of mine. I've seen his work. You all should look into him. So I'm going to put you on there. So we're going to help each other grow our business, and we're going to go through this path, side by side. Do I have your agreement on that? And then they say yes. And here's the nice thing that a lot of agents don't see is that when you build that momentum out in the market, when the things that you're doing every single day, showing up, taking action, holding yourself accountable, when you're out in the market and it's building momentum, it's kind of like riding a wave. It is the easiest thing now to be in real estate. It's the easiest. These folks that, I talk to a lot, from around the country that make, 500, 600, a million, $2 million. They say, Joe, it was harder in the beginning than it is today. And I want you to think about that. It was harder in the beginning when they got to start than it is today.
Right.
They said, Joe, I make more money, some of these folks, when they're on vacation on a beach than when they were actually brand new, their first year in the business.
Right.
Yeah. So it's, it's what you do every single day of your time. You have to decide, hey, are you going to be that person that is going to be, well known in your community to be that realtor that people can rely upon and trust on? Are you that person, or are you the person that, hey, you're just in this industry to make a couple bucks, and when the market's great, you'll do great, and when the market's bad, you'll take time off?
Well, that's all about your structure and setting yourself up. As a couple of things my takeaways of what you just said are, number one, and no one ever mentions this and talks about this, I talk about it a lot, is that you're as good as your boss is. And who's your boss? Yourself, right? And the other thing you said that is really cool, which I'm going to be using, is that when you start with your goal setting, that number that you want to make, well, that you just hired yourself to make that salary.
Yeah.
So you've got to go after that, and that's really, really, really cool.
And Dave, the other thing I can add is that what you want to do is you want to publicize that. So let's say that you're sitting at your desk, and right on your desk there's a picture, and it says $288,000 Centurion level, has a trophy. I want you to see that every single day, and I want you to say to everybody, hey, I'm going to do that, because the reminders are going to be the people that sit next to you. They're going to say, hey, listen, Dave, get on the phone. Remember that? Because sometimes we can forget about that stuff. So you almost have to publicize it. So, one day I had to say, hey, listen, back in 2008 when the market went south, it went bad. We moved into this big facility. I couldn't turn around. There was nothing I can do. So we just ran as hard as we can, because we said, hey, kumbaya, we're in this together, everybody. We just bought this building. We were putting millions of dollars into it. I mean, it was a huge commitment, and the market went south. Guess what happened that year, Dave, and the year after?
Your business went crazy.
We had number one worldwide.
Worldwide. There you go. See
worldwide.
That?
Yeah, and it was really because of the being scared every single day what was happening out there. We knew the only thing that we could really count on was ourselves, each of the agents going out there and leveraging ourselves at a higher level. Hey, the market was the market. The economy was the economy. There was nothing we can do what was going on. Foreclosures were happening. Companies were closing down. There was a lot of people that were scared in the market. And, I had no alternative. I had to make a $40,000 note payment on a building. And that wasn't going to change regardless of what the market is. I couldn't call the bank and say, hey, let's figure this out. And we're all in this together. So, it was nice to see what happened. So, hey, even in a bad market, we can all grow.
Oh, exactly. And let's face it. I mean, who's it up to? It's up to us being our own boss and wanting to do that. And I honestly, as a habit, I tell people I work with what my goals are, because, it gives me no excuses, and I need to practice what I preach. Yeah. Sometimes I need more of a push than some. I mean, look, truth be told, I have trouble with focus. I have trouble with discipline. And I know that I need to push myself. The more I talk about it, the more I help people with it, the better I am. And I want to just say to any agents that are listening to us, I think the best you can do is to help somebody else get better.
Yeah, well, who coaches the coach?
That's right.
There you go. So, that's why I'm here. Some people ask me, why do you come? I said, because I feel good when I leave this event today. Mike Ferry, Tom Ferry, and talking to some great agents here. I mean, if I weren't on this with you right now, I'd be in this restaurant that's just to my right, and I would be talking to a lot of agents that are in there networking, figuring out how to do it better. And, a lot of us, we know what to do. Sometimes we just need that added push that we need here. And then, that's what this is all about.
Right.
Coaching the coach or coaching a top agent, hey, it's tough. We need to find out how to get that back in our lives to show up every single morning at 7:00 with enthusiasm.
Exactly. So we're coming up against time, and I want to do a couple of real quick things. Right. One thing, and you had mentioned it earlier, and we knew we were just going to ask a quick question about it. This new thing that came out this week with Amazon and Realogy.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I'm just going to wait and see. I'm not the type of person that's excited too much about anything because it's not going to change my business model tonight. That it's going to stop me. It's not going to make it easier for me. So if you think that's what's going to happen, it's not going to make it easier. It's just a different bell in the market, and we'll see what happens. But today and
Exactly.
tomorrow, we're setting up open houses today, Dave. So
Right.
Amazon it didn't change that.
That's right. So you're just going to keep doing what you're doing because
Yeah.
it works.
Hey, Dave, I've seen a lot of stuff come into the market, over the years. And, sometimes I just smile at them and say, hey, listen, good luck to you. Chase it all you want, but I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
And and you mentioned earlier again, Purple Bricks.
Yeah.
There was Foxtons. There was all these other things that have come and gone.
Yeah.
And Joe Villaescusa and Century 21 Allstars has stood tall all along.
Yeah.
How long have you had your company, Joe?
33 years.
33 years.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And we met,
Yeah.
I'm going to say it was 23 years ago almost, something like that.
Was that long ago?
It was 96, right?
Yeah.
There's so many things. What do you think if you were going to leave the best word of wisdom for an agent? What would that be?
Show up. Show up.
Show up.
Just keep showing up, and understand what show up means. It means if you want to be a superstar, it's 7:00 in the morning. You got to do things that other realtors are not committed to do. If you want to be that person, and it's going to be a blimp in your life. It's not going to be forever. I mean, look at me today. I mean, I've been doing this, since a long time, and I'm still showing up at 7:00 in the morning to do training classes, and I love it. I mean, it's just a habit.
I want to ask you one other question before we get to the end, and that is about accountability.
Yeah.
Showing up is one thing. That's holding accountability. Agents, the more agents I talk to, the common denominator is that they have no accountability. They're not accountable to anything. You said it yourself. You can pick mom up or your cousin up at the airport because they don't have a real job.
Yeah.
That's not accountability. How do you keep yourself accountable, or what's the best way to do that?
In our company, one thing that we do, and it's sometimes controversial when we get visitors that come in, that we publicize from the top to the very bottom, listings, sales, and closings, from the best agent all the way to the person who's brand new. So you see that daily. You see that, on a piece of paper. You see that on our back office website. So every single day that changes. So if you ever want to build accountability, just look northbound of you to find out who's above you. Okay, so how I started in real estate, when we used to go to these meetings, they had me on the very bottom of maybe 50 brokers. And I said to myself, hey, listen, that's not going to happen. And the rule in the room was that, hey, if you're on the very bottom of the list, make sure you're not doing a lot of talking. You're doing a lot of listening. So, you just got to figure this stuff out. I remember, Mike Berry and things like that. It was funny. He'd put us in the room by production. So the guy in the top left was in the number one office, and the guy in the very back right, you were the guy that needs to listen a lot. So
I like that. that. So I know you told me, like when we got together earlier in the week, that there was only one reason you came on to. We're coming on.
Where's my goddamn hat, number 56, and I want it signed with number 56 on it.
You want to sign with number? I will do that for you. I told you get a brand new batch. You will get your hat. I have your address. Joe, how do people contact you if they want to talk to you, come work with you, or dig it? Well, how do they get you?
Yeah, obviously I'm on all the social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook. Numbers 562-863-2121. Give me a call at the office. I mean, if you want to visit, just come visit. We have visitors all the time. I mean, it is a pretty phenomenal facility. It's nice to see a working facility. It's not perfect, but I'm pretty proud of it because it's a dream office for me. So, it's just, I get more out of you visiting me than you learning from me, I think, because I listen to some of the stuff and I'll listen to this about how to do it better and how to do it, proper.
Well, I'm going to put you on notice right now that I have committed to be at the 2020 All-Star game, which is in Los Angeles next year.
Perfect.
I've committed to being there in your area for at least a week. So I expect a lunch, a dinner, a tour, something from you.
Well, Dave, maybe since you're down here, maybe you can I'll host a mastermind group meeting at my office. Bring some of your best agents and brokers out there. We can go to the game together and we can all talk a little business and get it written off through IRS.
There you go. I like that.
There you go. I was thinking.
They're going to have to be making a lot of money because these tickets ain't cheap.
Yeah, there you go.
So anyway, but that's going to be out in July. Joe, I want to thank you so much for coming on. I really do appreciate it. My name is Dave Fanale, Real Estate Skill Builder. Joe Villaescusa, Century 21 All-Stars. Joe, stay on for a minute. Thank you so much for coming, everybody. We'll see you next week when our guest will be AZ Arajo from Arizona. He is got a great real estate company, and check him out at dothework.com. So anyway, Joe, thanks so much for coming on. We'll see everybody real soon. Thanks a lot.
Adios.